All right, so for any of you guys who saw my live stream last night, or I don't know when I'm uploading this, a couple of nights ago, we pulled the Camaro apart and somewhat got to the bottom of what the noise was. There's some rocking back and forth play in two of the two middle pistons on the passenger side bank, and I'm not sure if it's like a ring thing or if it's like a broken piston skirt or what the hell's going on, but the noise of that piston moving back and forth, I can just literally, with my thumb, rock the thing. Let me just show you quick. And I think this noise, well, this is definitely the noise I'm having. There is a lot of rock in that piston. This one has a little bit as well. The two outside ones don't. I tried rotating it over. Does the exact same thing at all positions in the bore. The walls themselves look absolutely fine. I did have that piston down in the hole before, and there's no scoring, no nothing. So I'm not exactly sure what the hell's going on. As far as that play in the piston, I know these motors have some piston slap, but that is a shitload of play, and there's definitely something going on there. All the lifters came out perfect. All the push rods came out perfect. Rockers were all fine. Pulled the valve cover off of the driver's side. All those rockers are good. So as for what's going on, we're probably not going to know until I actually have the motor out. But the good news is we have the replacement engine. So I literally just came back from the salvage yard. I did not pull this myself. I actually got it from Leesville Auto over in New Jersey. They actually give me a pretty good deal on it. A lot of these engines, you know, they go for a lot of money. It's not like kind of a few years ago where you could just go to a pull-it yard, grab a 5.3 or something. Even the 5.3s are going up in value. I ended up paying $2,300 for this with tax. It was like $21.95 before tax, and they actually didn't charge me a core. It would have been a $500 core on top of that, but I told them what I was doing, and you know, I'm putting in the Camaro and about the channel, so they completely waived the $500 core fee. I could have gave them the 5.3 back. They would have took that, even though it wasn't a 6-liter like this is. But I do have plans for that in the future for the Trans Am, so I want to hold on to that engine. So I just want to give them a shout out and thank them again for waiving that core charge and save me a little money, because there's a lot of stuff I'm going to have to do to this and a lot of little upgrades I want to do before we actually get it back in the car. But this is a 6.0. It's a Gen 4 motor. Code is an LY6. It's basically an iron block 6-liter with LS3 heads. Being it is a Gen 4, it has the square port heads, meaning the blower is going to bolt right to this thing. I'm not going to need those adapter plates anymore. I'm going to gain about that much hood clearance. They're going to flow better in stock form. And then on top of that, I might have them ported and do some other stuff with it. I'm not 100%. But yeah, I paid $2,200 for this thing, and it's pretty much complete. Got the intake. Comes with headers. All this stuff got to come off, but I could probably reuse this with the Trans Am. It has the exact same coils that the Camaro has, so you know, it's always nice to have some extra coils. Only thing I'm gonna have to do really is pull it apart, and we're going to gap the rings, because the rock in that piston, I wouldn't be surprised if while it was under boost on the 2-step, the ring closed up and actually damaged the piston or the skirt or something. That may be what happened. Like I said, not gonna know until we pull it apart. And there's a few reasons for why I decided to go with this. I mean, I could have just pulled the 5.3 out, had it fixed, put some better rods in it, threw it back in. But I really wanted to do this for a while. And as I mentioned, the 5.3 is going to make its way into the Trans Am eventually. And I think that car is going to just be able to utilize it a lot better than the Camaro. The Trans Am is most likely going to get turbos, or at least a turbo. So with the 5.3, the slightly lower compression, it's a smaller motor. It'll be able to, I could put more boost into it with the turbo, make more power. Whereas with the blower, you're kind of limited as to how much power you can actually make. There's only, you know, so much pull you can put on it before the thing just doesn't move much air. Whereas with a turbo, you could kind of just crank up the boost, and worst case, you run out of turbo, you can easily just slap another one on there. Blowers are a lot more expensive. So by going to the 6.0, not only is it going to be bigger than the 5.3, it's going to have the better, newer LS3 square port heads. They're going to make more power right away. It's a bigger bore. Compression is slightly higher. I think it's 9.6 instead of 9.2. This engine, just the way it sits, makes about 385 horsepower, where the engine in that, when it was stock, made like 295. So just the displacement alone and the better stock heads is going to make a huge difference. As far as boost goes, I'm running the same pulleys and everything. I might eventually do a lower, but this thing is going to make more power with less boost. Being it has a bigger combustion chamber, better flowing heads, it's going to actually make more power than the 5.3, and at the same time it's going to do it at a lower boost number just because it flows so much better. You always want to try to make the most power you can on the least amount of boost. All boost is a measure of restriction, basically. So if you have the exact same blower on both of these engines, it makes 15 pounds on the Camaro. You bolt it directly onto this engine, not touching the pulley, not touching anything, it'll probably make maybe 10 or 11, and you're going to make more power. So that's kind of the whole idea here, is to make more power without putting more stress on the engine. And like I said, it's pretty complete. We have valve covers, we have all the sensors. These I'm going to probably reuse if I do a turbo kit, maybe a flip truck manifold kit on the Trans Am. You see it has the 823 LS3 heads. This I can reuse because the Trans Am is going to be keeping an auto, so I can put that on the 5.3. And then I just have to strip it down, pull off the water pump, pull off the pulley. We're going to have to pin that. We're going to do the head gaskets. I got to get different head studs. I got to do the DOD delete. And I'm also going to do the cam. I'm going to actually go to a blower cam this time. That has a Stage 2 Tick Performance turbo cam. That is going to make its way into the Trans Am. And then this engine, when in the Camaro, is actually going to get a proper blower cam. So that, paired with everything else, I might even do the snout while the blower's off, and possibly a lower pulley to give it a little bit more boost, being it's going to be a better flowing engine. Plus it's a Gen 4, it's got the stronger rods. I really got to add this up to see what everything is going to cost, but that's the general plan I have for it right now. But this engine actually came out of a 2008 GMC Savannah bus. Oh, also it has 110,000 miles on it. I forgot to mention that earlier. So for the price I paid, I mean, $2,200 with 110K, not having to pay a core around these parts, that is definitely a good price to me, because even looking on eBay, these things were going for like 1,500 bucks, plus shipping, plus core, and that was for like an 180,000 to a 230,000 mile motor. Yeah, so this came out of a bus, and if you go check out Leesville Auto and give them a call, they actually have quite a few of these motors there. They had maybe 4 or 5 of them there. And being this came out of a bus, I figured, well, it was one of the lower mileage ones they had, and being it was in a bus, I'm hoping the bus wasn't getting beat on or floored. You would think it would have to take it pretty easy if it's a school bus. And plus, not only that, it's a school bus that's in a fleet, so usually fleet engines are maintained a lot better. The oil is changed very, very frequently. So those two things, paired with the mileage and just the deal that they gave me, it was kind of a no-brainer. But let's pull these straps off. We'll just pull a valve cover. We'll take a look inside. Just see if anything looks weird. We have any sludge. Because if we have no sludge in the top end, that is definitely a good sign. But these are 8s, and then the coils are 10s. Oh wow, look at that. That looks basically brand friggin' new. Look at the inside of the valve cover. There's not even a hint of like yellowing or anything. It almost looks brand friggin' new. And this is a 110,000 mile engine. So I am definitely liking that. Yeah, so next video, I think we're gonna finish pulling this out. I didn't pull the other head off just because the noise was coming from this side. And I know for sure, even if I pulled this apart and it was like a lifter or something stupid, honestly, I'd probably still be putting the 6-liter in here just because I've been wanting to do it for a while. So regardless, the 5.3 is coming out. I'm going to probably pull the trans first. I already have the hoist here. And if you're wondering, I pull them out from the side so I don't have to pull the bumper. So I'm going to pull the transmission out, then I'm just going to lift the engine out from the side, putting the hoist under this tire. And that just leaves a lot more room to work because obviously there's not much space there. I got plenty of space without the Malibu in here, which is still around. I didn't sell that car yet. I still have to do the cleanup, so you guys will see that video before it's out of my hands. But for now, that's going to do it for this one. I'll see you in a few days.